Alrighty then. What is going on, everyone? Happy March of 2025. We are back for another edition of our stay-at-home open mic presented by the Barbed Open Mic Series here in El Paso, Texas. That's right. We are live and alive in a 915. My name is Richie. I'll be your uh, intro. I guess I'll be your I'll lead things off today, essentially. But if this is your first time tuning in, this is like any other open mic. If you want to perform some poetry, some prose, or some music, then all you have to do is sign up. There's a link to sign up in the description of this video. That's right. We are an open mic based out of the US Southwest here in El Paso, Texas. But because of the magic of technology, we get to join in on friends and new friends from all over the country and all over the world. Uh, there is a backlog, 300 plus episodes from all the way back to April of 2020, which means we're getting close to 5 years of doing this. That's something in its own right, but people needed a space. So if you guys are here tuning in and if you're watching live on YouTube, let us know you're here. Say hello, say hi in the live chat. I personally love to see people active in the live chat, commenting on pieces, on lines that stick out to you, on the topics, or just giving props. You know how it is. Throw those flame emojis in the chat at the 100s, and we love to see it because otherwise we don't know who's watching. We can see numbers, but it's nice to put a name there. And of course, if you are tuning in with the college with EPCC for the Tejano Passport program, that's right. If you're here for that an online event, online Tejano event, then there's instructions in the description of this video. Essentially, I'm gonna ask is just watch hang out, hang out, listen to, watch the performances, and then send a brief email summarizing a little bit of your thoughts, what you experienced, what were you thinking, and of course, who did you enjoy? That's always fun to read. I always like to share that feedback with people too. But maybe we'll do reminders in the live chat throughout the night. Last couple things. Again, we're based out of El Paso. In addition to this live show, we do have in-person events that are worth checking out, open mics, writing workshops, and all sorts of miscellaneous things like that. And so you can find all of that info at bwoms.com, bwoms.com, BWOMS.com. And we have a calendar there. But just as a heads up, tomorrow we will be downtown. I don't know which venue we're at. Right now, we're in a little bit of a confusing state where there's another event that's also happening now on Tuesdays, and we are supposed to be switching, but they're booking the same days we're supposed to be at that venue. So I don't know. We're trying to figure that out. So sit tight on that. Just know we will be downtown. But next week, check this out. We'll be downtown on Tuesday as well. But on Wednesday, we have our second edition of the Writers Workshop and open mic. I think it went very splendidly last week, last Wednesday. I have a bunch of photos and videos that I took, so I'm going to be putting together some promo during this week. So if you guys missed it last time, then you still have a chance to make it out. Workshop starts at 7 p.m. and then the open mic will start a little after that. So honestly, just kind of nice to have a place to hang out and talk with other writers and see other people interacting. And I think people needed the space. So you'll see that Thursday, we have the debut of a brand new event. Thursday, March 13th, we will be, due to popular demand, going back to the East Side. That's right. BWOMS returns to East Side El Paso. We will be at Rally Point Coffee East. All right. That's on Montana. And I know there are a lot of people who live on the East Side who would drive all the time to the West Side or Central for our shows, which is where we normally have them, mostly downtown and Central. So if you guys live on the East Side, good news, right? You don't have to drive as far. And even cooler news is that is going to be hosted by my friend Jez. You may have seen her perform around town. Amazing singer, songwriter. She has a group with her sisters called Pi Music. And that's going to be Thursday the 13th. Sign up starts at 7, I think, for that one. And then the open mic will start at 8. If you're not familiar, Rally Point Coffee is a really nice coffee shop. They have pastries, a little food here and there, but they have coffee. They also have beer on tap. So, if you want to grab a little brew, then come through. Yeah, that's next Thursday. So that's also my spring break. So I'm going to be at every single one of those. The following week on the 20th, last thing, I'm going to be doing another jazz and poetry downtown, jazz and poetry night downtown, live jazz band. some of the best in the city. In fact, the pianist Billy Towns was recently awarded and recognized as was it the El Paso Hall of Fame. Can't remember what specifically the name of the organization. But yeah, that's gonna be the 20th. I'll let you guys know more about that. Anyway, it's time to start the show, guys. So again, if you want to perform, there's still time to sign up. Just click the link in the description. If you're just trying, just checking it out and think you may want to join us in the future, then the good thing is we're here on Mondays. We've yet to miss a Monday so far, and hopefully we can keep it going. But we have a great community. The whole point is to support them. You know, as always, when you guys read, before or after, share your links, how people can support your work, follow you online, all that good stuff. Anyway, usually this is the part of the show where I talk the most and then I host, but I am very grateful to be able to handing over the reins today to someone who is a community leader in the writing community here in El Paso, and many of you also know him from Tumblewords. So without further ado, Kit will be your host today. So Kit Wren, good to see you, man. Go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Richie. Thanks for letting me do this. Thanks to everyone for showing up, for making the time to join us on this Monday, as we have for 59 months of Mondays now. Uh gonna be a David Bowie song about that soon. 5 years. Uh Today was also the first day of spring. In El Paso, we don't look to the groundhog to that, we look to the sky, and if it's turned red, it's spring. But the sun has made its way to its home in the western sky, and it's Monday night in El Paso. And thank you for joining us. I'm going to kick things off with a little cover, because like I said, it is spring, and here's one of my favorite spring poems, Onset by Kim Adenizio. Watching that frenzy of insects above the bush of white flowers, bush I see everywhere on hill after hill, all I can think of is how terrifying spring is in its tireless, mindless replications. Everywhere emergence, seed case, chrysalis, uterus, endless manufacturing, and the rat stacks of styrofoam cups in the grocery. Lately, I can't stand them. The shelves of canned beans and soups, freezers of identical dinners, then the snowflake diamond snowflake of the rug beneath my chair, rows of books turning their backs, even my 2 feet, how they mirror each other, oppresses me. The way they fit so perfectly together, how I can nestle one big toe into the other like little continents that have drifted. My God, the unity of everything. My hands and eyes, yours. Doesn't that frighten you sometimes? Remembering the pleasure of nakedness and fresh sheets, all the lovers there before you, beside you, crowding you out, and the scouring griefs. Don't look at them all, or they'll kill you. You can barely encompass your own. I'm saying I know all about you, whoever you are. It's spring and it's starting again. The longing that begins and begins and begins. Onset by Kim Adenizio, adding a little menace to everyone else's young man's fancy. But yes, we have our usual crew of international people, and there should be a couple of surprises in there too. But where we start is no surprise. At the other online concern that I host at Tumblewords, he's usually there just as soon as I start the room, and it's always wonderful to get to see him, to hear his participation on everything. And so we're gonna go up to Denver. We're gonna start in Denver, Colorado, where Michael Sindler is. So, Mike, when you're ready, start us off.
Okay, thanks, Kit. Yeah, actually, it's very much wonderful to see everybody who comes into Tumblewords. It's an incredibly great crew, and always nice to see new faces too. But some great work gets done there. And as always, thank you, Richie, for making this space happen. And I'll put up my usual lighthousewriters.org for another great place to have workshops and classes and stuff like that. Today, we have entered into Women's History, etc. month. And so I'm just going to do a couple pieces that are sort of highlighting the disparities that women are having to face. And this first one is called She Was Trying. She was trying to be nice, just an innocent compliment by way of a thank you. He heard it as an invitation. Let hopes became obsessive pursuit. At first, she ignored unwanted chattering, became uncomfortable as the level increased, found herself looking for allies or exits. No one seemed to apprehend rising level of anxiety and fear. Refusing repeated offers to buy her a drink, to get up and dance, to go somewhere quiet and talk. What could she have said or done to make him feel this was appropriate? She thought back and found nothing. What was she missing? Though blameless, she took herself to task. She had done nothing to make him act like an ass. It was on him. She got up to use the toilet. He asked, "Where are you going?" How was this his business? She found a seat on the other side of the bar. Within minutes, he was invading her space again. Finally, as nicely as she could, she asked him to leave her alone. Fury flashed, flushing his face. He leaned in menacingly, growling, "Hey, I bought you a drink. You led me on. What's wrong? I'm a good guy. You should get to know me." The bartender finally registered the fear in her features, told the pest to back off or get the hell out. He retreated a few stools down, slammed down shot after shot, getting sloppier and sloppier. She prayed he would find another focus for his toxic insecurity other than another unaware victim. Noting a moment he absented his predatory perch, she chose to use the time to make a subtle retreat. Heading toward the parking lot, keys wedged between fingers, fondling a pocketed bear spray can. While she was unlocking the door, she heard his gruff, mumbled roar. "Hey, why are you leaving? Don't go without me. Don't be like that. You at least owe me a hug." In a transformative moment, his threat turned into a scream, aerosol entering nostril and throat. Tears rained from inflamed eyes. A well-placed kick found him sprawled out on the asphalt, wheeling wildly, lashing blindly, howling, "Bitch, I'm going to kill you," between wheezing gasps. Despite her palpable fear and anger, that impotent epithet brought laughter, prone bully bawling in a pool of puke. That was hard to say. She considered calling the cops, but it was doubtful he learned a lesson, but knew it probably wouldn't help. Odds were against a just intervention. Experience had taught her all too well patriarchy rarely comes to a woman's aid. No need for hours of defending against intimidation. She brought it on herself, gave him the right to act animalistic. Resisting the urge to roll right over, she wheeled around, driving away, her whole body still shaking in shock. Rage slowly simmered down to relief, still struggling to remember a misstep leading to his dark transformation. After all she had been through, lucky just to be alive, she still turned inside to find blame as society had taught her. With no reason to accept shame, she burned from the sting of slander, hearing the morning news announce, "A man was attacked in a downtown parking lot and left for dead, victim of an unhinged, drugged-out assailant." Drunk on unearned sympathy, soon he will be repeating the pattern, cycle rolling over another victim. Resigned to inability to unveil his culpability, that afternoon she treated herself to a new can of Ursine repellent. And I'm going to read one more of mine real quick. This is considerably shorter. And unfortunately, this is one that we thought there was hope for something, but we knew there wasn't really. It's called The Quantity of Mercy from the Menace of Kavanaugh. for CB Ford, with apologies to Willie the Shake. The quantity of mercy is off-strained. It drops charges, ignores blame, treats women as if a race beneath. It cheats twice. Yes, it forgiveth him that beats and him that rapes. 'Tis easiest upon the mightiest. It becomes the privileged male to act the vengeful clown. His status bends the force of judicial power, thus able to make awful travesty, wherein doth sit as peer and pull at strings. But mercy is absent. Justice decays. Privileged enthroned at the heart of things is an affront to suffrage itself, as unearned power doth then skew all odds when mercy pleads for justice. Therefore, true though justice be thy plea, consider this, that in this court of just us, none of us should see salvation. He who plays for party and that same power does sour all he renders, this thief of mercy. He will do thus much to mutilate justice for the worthy, which, if thou follow this warped court of vengeance, will thus give sentence against the women there. Do I have time to do a cover? Okay. I know that those were a little long. So I'm going to do one by Dorothea Lasky called The Birth. The birth isn't about poetry. It is about screaming pain on a Sunday, hailing a cab and head racing to the hospital, now so close to the new apartment. I had a baby inside of me, but no one expected it to happen so fast, or then at least they said they didn't. Maybe they expected it to happen so fast all along. Alone in the waiting room, I shook and the blood ran down my legs. Later, with the magnesium, I thought of the many permutations of the bald head, pale, pickling fish skin, glowing with scales. When she came out, she was dark and full of hair. No blood, but born in the call like the other magical realities of my past accomplishments. But when she came out, she cried, and it sounded like me, but passed me into her new reality. Now, 3 weeks later, they say I am still not an erotic object. So I wander the park in the snow with my friend. We light candles and pray to the darkness. We light the park on fire and the police come and find us. When they take us to the jail, I say, no, it's not right. I'm a mother after all. They say, but where's your baby? And I say, no, my baby. They say, yes, look at your beautiful baby. I say, I do. Look, and listen. My baby. She's there. Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Is there anything you want to plug in the upcoming week or so?
Well, I thought you would probably mention it, but good old Tumble Words is just really going down to the bottom feeding for people to lead it. So I will be leading
Rude
on the 8th. So we will be doing one called The Struggle is Real. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Michael. Self-effacing jokes are out. Self-aggrandizing jokes are in. Just talk your shit. That's my advice for everyone. But yes, great as always to kick off with Michael. And we're going to bring it back to the hearth, back to the home, back to El Paso. And we're going to talk to, as a host, I can't play favorites, but if you'll allow me to have favorites, I'd appreciate it. So one of my favorites is our next reader, Robin Schofield. So when you're ready.
There we go. Happy Monday, everybody. I'm gonna read some new stuff out of a notebook. Well, it's not exactly new. It was written back in October. And so I think I know all the dates I wrote these, so they're still in the little notebook. Oh my God, I never do this. So no titles, probably. War wielding a sickle, the sickle-shaped moonlight, the mushroom cloud compared to the 6 varieties of shrooms in the grocery store, not including psilocybin and Amanita muscaria. We used to pick them out of cow dung by a dam somewhere near Houston. We washed them well and ate them as in a trance. We tripped and dreamed of peace. But now, 45 years later, the moon is sickle-shaped. I am planting the fall flora, knowing all the while the land shaped like a sickle or the crescent moon, where war is coming to a crescendo, knowing the land is crackling with fire. And then, let's see. Oh yeah, here's one that's a little bit about the wind, I think. Was it like one of those days in El Paso where you go outside and you're just choking? I am so nervous. I want to be outside and plant an orchard in my backyard. I just need to use the right shoes for the shovel. Sturdy but worn, because the digging in the caliche breaks shoes down. Nevertheless, I have the right shoes in the study closet, but the shovel stands idle. So old a tool that no one invented it. The first shovel was the shoulder bone of a large mammal, deer, oxen, perhaps. I dream of taking the computer out to the backyard to write, but my neighbor is weed whacking. I'm choking on the dust and sand he stirs up that lands in my throat and comes out in the poems, because my poetry is not made of silence and starlight, because our world is too noisy and too bright to see the stars in our splendid cities. I look to the west before dawn and saw Venus and Orion. Okay, let's see, what's the other poem about? Okay, I think this one's newer. Oh yeah, this is from January. This is The Magic of Zoom. I was in San Miguel, but it was a windy day. One year in San Miguel, a giant tree branch fell right in front of me, so I wasn't keen about walking in the wind. So I zoomed into Kit Wren's Stumbleboards workshop. It was on Philip Larkin. Never such innocence again. I'm sorry, Ben Franklin, that we couldn't keep the republic. Mr. Reagan's, that is Reagan, started the decline. I'm sorry, Dr. Franklin, that the murderous progressive 60s gave me hope when I was a child. Then the assassinations. Then the crook, Nixon, a Quaker, restrained by the courts. And then, here we are with a bigger crook, a lowlife grifter and fraud, running the republic into the ground. He wears makeup, like Kennedy, which Nixon refused for the first televised debate. He dyes his fake hair, but his jowls sag. His Diet Coke belly is big with burgers. He hates what is best in America. A racist pig, a man of such venality with zero morals and no respect for the rule of law. A man like Mussolini. Let's hope he ends up like that, the head of a personality cult. All that you feared, Ben Franklin, everything that you feared has come about, I'm afraid. All right. And then for Women's History Month, I have a cover poem. I probably read it before, but it's worth reading again. It's very timely, even though it was written in 1968. Poets are almost always prophets, right? It's by Muriel Rukeyser. I'll put her name in the chat because she's a poet to look at, definitely. It's called Poem, and then brackets, I lived in the first century of world wars. I lived in the first century of world wars. Most mornings I would be more or less insane. The newspapers would arrive with their careless stories. The news would pour out of various devices, interrupted by attempts to sell products to the unseen. I would call my friends on other devices. They would be more or less mad for similar reasons. Slowly, I would get to pen and paper, make my poems for others unseen and unborn. In the day, I would be reminded of those men and women, brave, setting up signals across vast distances, considering a nameless way of living of almost unimagined values. As the lights darkened, as the lights of night brightened, we would try to imagine them, try to find each other, to construct peace, to make love, to reconcile waking with sleeping, ourselves with each other, ourselves with ourselves. We would try by any means to reach the limits of ourselves, to reach beyond ourselves, to let go the means, to wake. I lived in the first century of these wars. 1968, Muriel Rukeyser. Thank you, everybody, and do come to Tumblewords, because Michael, despite his self-deprecating jokes, gives a great workshop. So that's going to be really good. And we vary the presenters, and it's always something where you can get a start on at least 2 or 3 points. So back to you, Richie.
Back to me, Kit.
I'm so sorry.
My own mother treats me this way.
Back to Kit.
Richie, and you panicked poor Richie too. You've thrown everything off balance. Well, well, somehow we'll muddle on. Thank you very much, Robin. Another great set. But yes, coming up next is a writer who's been making himself known on these mics in 2025. He heard about us through his own through the El Paso Poetry Workshop Group, which he's also a diligent member of. They meet on Saturdays, I believe. But he's also coming to Tumblewords too. It's been great to get to know him better and to hear more of him. And so we're happy to welcome Ed Gonzalez to our stage. Ed, take it away when you're ready.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Happy Monday, y'all. I was trying to focus so hard, but Kid just put me in laughing, and I'm refocused. I'm refocused. I just want to thank Barbed Wire, and also I want to thank Richie and Tumblewords, which is actually one of the pretty much, as far as my writing is concerned, is going to be either from Tumblewords or Tumblewords related. So here we go. Okay, this one is entitled Relentless Gratitude. Just wrestling with the thought of having to choose between our best qualities. This brings about smiles to my mind and my brain, which is where my ego resides. If I had to choose attitude, showing appreciation for the pickleball game between my mind and my ego, to observe the game being played internally and otherwise. It is appreciation for everything. Namaste. And that is the first one. The second one is also a Tumble Words. This one entitled Sands. What I have chose to cut back on when children arrive on the scene, and what was completely halted, was the imbibing of alcohol. It had been over 20 years now. The actual date is not set in stone or in my memories exactly. It was following a 9-day silent retreat. This was also a meatless affair. I began at the temple because my wife chose to go to the temple because they had good jewelry. And I went with her, and mentally I've never left. Following the retreat, I quit meat and booze. Changed my life and everyone in my home. All right, there's two. And this one is the funny one because it was right after Tumble Words. I resumed watching TVs with the rest of my family. And I was watching the show and it triggered me so wonderfully that I wrote this whole thing. So I'm also crediting Tumble Words with this. Entitled Trigger. Watching a character on TV order Hawaiian punch with vodka triggers the mother of all Pavlovian responses, including a cranial lightning bolts and chills. Instantly transports me back to Glassell Park, California, recalling a drunk of epic proportions. Blue Kool-Aid and Kroger brand vodka. The night carried me through onto the morning. I found myself on the floor with many others. I staggered to my feet, gave a wave to our host with a smile, as I headed to their backyard to puke out the blue poison. And wash up with the water hose style. Then climbed into my car to head back to beautiful Lincoln Heights. And then I met a friend of mine with a bag with 2 cans of medicinal hair of the dog and a hand-rolled blessing. What a night. Huzzah! That was the last of them. And then now, I've had some help with my cover. Uh, my my grandchildren, I show them I show them barbed wire every Tuesday, and my grandson crafted this for me to perform my I'm sorry, I can't stop laughing, to perform my cover. And in keeping on with Women's Month, which is something means a great deal to me. My mom raised all 5 of us by herself. So if it wasn't for her, who knows? And I'm also sticking with a recent visitor, Naomi Shihab Nye. This one of my favorites, entitled Making a Fist. For the first time on the road to Tampico, I felt life sliding out of me. A drum in the desert, harder and harder to hear. I was 7. I lay in a car, watching palm trees swirl a sickened pattern past the glass. My stomach was a melon split wide inside my skin. How do you know if you're going to die? I begged my mother. We had traveled for days. With a strange confidence, she answered, when you can no longer make a fist. Later, I smiled to think that journey, that borders we must cross separately, stamped with the unanswerable woes. I who did not die, I am still living. I'm lying in the back seat behind all my questions, clenching and opening one small hand. So I hope you enjoyed everything. Thank you, everybody. I love the work so far. It's been amazing as always. Thank you, Barbed Wire. Thank you, Richie. And thank you, Kit.
And thank you, Ed. Thanks very much for that set and for your new hat. Here we go. BWOMS bringing families together. Some of them. Yes, thanks very much, Ed. We're going to stick in El Paso, and we're going to stick with the class of 2025, you could call them, since they've also been joining since an improvement in their living situation, and we're really happy every time we see them. So everyone, please welcome David Latif to the stage.
Hi there. I'm gonna read some poems. Some that I wrote, and then I'm gonna do a cover poem. These are poems about like trying your best to be proud of who you are, given that the rest of the world, well, I shouldn't say the rest of the world, given that certain people in power don't want you to exist anymore. So I'm going to perform some poems. This one's called "I'm Tired of Being Brave," or strong, or whatever else people say that they think is praise for existing as a neuroqueer person. They say that to everyone who's going through it. But I know how strong and brave I am for strongly and bravely standing up for the controversial right for trans and disabled people to be visibly trans and disabled. I know because it's exhausting. It's exhausting to be brave and strong enough to fight with every legislator and teacher and boss I've ever had about my right to exist. All I want is to stop being strong. I need a break from being brave. I need someone to come help me, not to just call themselves an ally, but to actively be one. This next one I wrote this past Wednesday. It's called "Human Beings, Not Human Doings." I was talking with my roommate about how being an unemployed neurodivergent loser has been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Not being dragged by my eyes by every single boss or teacher or authority, because I get to choose what I focus on, what I spend my time and willpower accomplishing, because y'all, the neurotypicals, the normals, the capitalists have the worst sense of what's interesting or worth focusing on. You ask me the same goddamn question, so what do you do? This week, I made paper K cards because I'm waiting for parts for a Ryobi powered lightsaber to come in. What the fuck did you do? Oh, you went to your job and made some rich bastard money and just let him keep that cash, the excess value of your labor? Wow, very important, so vital. When I saw the redwoods in California, trees that have probably burned to a crisp thanks to this obsession with productivity, I cried. Because they were beautiful, yes, but because they weren't demanded to do anything except be. No one told them to do anything. No one yelled at them because they couldn't get their homework in on time or didn't make enough profit. Here were hundreds of trees celebrated by thousands of humans, and all they had to do was exist. I was so fucking envious because I would never be treated the same. This next one is called "I Am Autistic." I say to my therapist, "You are a person with autism," he responds, being entirely wrong. "We use person-first language. We say people with autism." No, the fuck we don't. First, autistic people has fewer syllables. When I speak, I feel like a toddler sprinting on cobblestone, every syllable a crack between the bricks, just big enough to catch my foot and send me tumbling into a sputter. Secondly, I don't have autism. I am autism. The only reason I don't say I am ADHD is because that isn't already a normal phrase. Yet. See, I have a backpack and keys that I frequently lose, leave behind, or can get rid of. The autism, though, that's here to stay. It's the colored thread in the tapestry that is my soul. Take that away, and the tapestry goes with it. It's not a part of my body. It is my body. The way tendons aren't attached to bone and muscle, but are bone transitioning to muscle. And the pain you feel when your tendon snaps is the same excruciating pain I feel every time you tell me to do the same to myself. I'm tired of dismembering myself to fit into your boxes, chopping off the various limbs of my soul so that you can feel like you fixed something. I am not a puzzle to be pieced together. I am the whole painting. I am nothing to be fixed because I wasn't broken to begin with. I'm not getting rid of it. I'm not getting over it. I am autistic. Who the fuck are you to say otherwise? And then my cover poem from the great and wonderful Rudy Francisco. This one I feel like I can relate to when things aren't great. It's called When People Ask Me How I'm Doing. I want to say my depression is an angry deity, a jealous god, a thirsty shadow that wrings my joy like a dish rag and makes juice out of my smile. I want to say getting out of bed has become a magic trick. I am probably the worst magician I know. I want to say this sadness is the only clean shirt I have left, and my washing machine has been broken for months. But I'd rather not ruin someone's day with my tragic honesty, so instead I treat my face like a pumpkin. I pretend that it's Halloween. I carve it into something acceptable. I laugh and say, I'm doing all right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kit. Thank you, Richie. This has been a wonderful home to have in my home. It's lovely to be able to share this with y'all every week. So thank you.
All right. And thank you, David. And I believe you have something to plug this month too.
I do. I am also running a Tumblewords on the 22nd. I have an idea of we're figuring out. I have concepts of a plan. It's currently titled The Mundane and Profane, a Fountain of Inspiration. And it will be about getting ideas from wherever you can get them from. Just grab them from wherever you can find them.
Excellent. It's going to be a great time is what it's going to be. So
Yeah.
Thank
you so much.
Thank you, David. Always a pleasure to hear from you. And it's not all poetry tonight. We do have some musicians with us too. We're going to go to the first of those musicians right now. Sticking around in the El Paso area, he's been a fixture on the scene for a while with his Mountain Vibes project and his current project, Scuba and the Tanks. Always a crowd favorite when he gets on these Monday night mics. We're real happy to introduce Stephen Molina. Stephen, when you're ready.
Hey. Got the cover hat on today. All right. We got two. Hope everyone's doing okay. She was more like a beauty queen from a movie scene. I said, don't mind, but what do you mean? I am the one who'll dance on the floor in the round. She said, I am the one who'll dance on the floor in the round. She told me her name was Billie Jean, and she caused a scene, and every head turned with eyes that dreamed of being the one, because we danced on the floor and around. Well, people always told me, be careful what you do, don't go around breaking young girls' hearts. Mother always told me, be careful who you love, Be careful what you do before the lie becomes the truth. Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who claims that I am the one. But the kid is not my son. She says I am the one, but the kid is not my son. For 40 days and for 40 nights, law was on her side. But who could stand when she's in demand? Her schemes and plans, 'cause we danced on the floor in the round. So take my strong advice, just remember to always think twice. She told my baby we danced till 3, and she looked at me and showed a photo. My baby cried, his eyes were like mine, 'cause we danced on the floor in the round. People always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around making younger sons. But then she stood right by me, the smell of sweet perfume. This happened much too soon. She called me to run. Well, Billie Jean is not my lover. She's just a girl who says that I am the one. But the kid is not my son. She says I am the one, but the kid is not my son. Well, she says I am the one. 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 Billie Jean is not my lover. Oh, Billie Jean is not my lover. Billie Jean is not my lover. Oh, Billie Jean is not my lover. All right. I haven't done that one in forever. Oh, good times. Okay. Goodbye. Now, let's see, we got an original for you. It's called Where to Go. Well, I've seen many choose love when taken by hate. Every cage I have flown from, still the void still awake. From the zoo to the jungle, tender eyes at the gates. Between chaos and control, it's the choices we make. So I venture to grow the candlelight flickering slow. Still I'm just one small voice, just a boy who's a long way from home. stuck right in the middle. And these doors go on for days on end. Oh, in due time, I'll know where to go. Blooming life by the window, swaying hands, gentle hips. From the rocks to the willows, I keep falling off script. Oh, it's a long way down if you don't know the way. Every step filled with color, every breath taking shape. So bring the highs and even the lows. The candlelight, every lost hope. It's just a matter of time till I meet a lovely girl who's a long way from home, stuck right in the middle. And these doors go on over days on end. Just close your eyes, you'll know where to go. When peace and quiet are a long way from home, blessed with choice when some have so little. And these doors will come for days on end, but we won't hide, we won't let go. And in due time, we'll know where to go. I'm lost in your eyes, girl. You're a damn work of art. Every door leads to 10 more, but we've made it this far. You're the end of the riddle, and if we're ever miles apart, I'll be waiting right here, love. You're my home and my heart. You're my home and my heart. You're my home and my heart. You're my home and my heart.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you. Those are some good ones. If by any chance you want to check out some more, hit me up on Insta on scubatanksmusic.com. Not .com, just Scuba Tanks Music, and you'll find me there. You'll find a link tree and a couple albums on there. Happy Monday. Thanks, Kit, for taking the lead. Richie, all the best, bro.
All right. Thank you, Steven. What a set. All right. What a treat, you know? We just get to sit here and just have all of this great music just happen to us. And all these great people just come up and sing for us. It's incredible. Art is just this living miracle that we all just live with every day. And just stop and realize, admit to yourself what is happening to you whenever you hear a great song. Uh, yeah, found the period to that sentence in there somewhere. But we're going to switch back to poetry coming up with another crowd favorite, another local favorite, another personal favorite. I am allowed to have those. But I even share a birthday with this person, as well as many opinions and a few sensibilities. And we're very happy to welcome Lee Martinez Soto to the stage. Lee, when you're ready.
Hello. All right. So I'm gonna pick up where I left off the last was it called BWOMS night, whatever. We left off with my mom having no basic manners. So just let's pick it up from there. A stack of paperwork is handed over from her side to ours before she can finish her very important phone call. My mom signs without a second thought, not reading a single word of that very legal contract. I stop her before she hands it back, ask her to let me read through them, and make sure that she's not signing off her life savings and house to extirpate the cancer. This gives her enough time to finish off her phone call. I can tell the clerk is annoyed at us, but my experiences with the U.S. healthcare system sham, for-profit venture masquerading as cutting-edge healthcare, has left me paranoid. I hand her over the documents as I finish reading them. She signs and hands them over alongside her ID, prompting my brother to hand over his as the responsible party that will be staying with her. 38,000 pesos. That is 1,842 US dollars. See, in Mexico, the hospital charges its fees ahead of your procedure. She won't receive a surprise letter weeks or months after with a sparkling new medical debt she was not prepared for. Additionally, she knows the total in advance. After surgery, she will pay her doctors the agreed upon sum, one for the surgeon, one for the anesthesiologist, and that'll be the end of it. Some people won't even pay a dime if they use the Seguro Social services and go to the public hospitals run by the government's health department. My mom will not pay a thing for her 5 rounds of radiation, since she will be using this benefit for that part of her treatment. She will, however, have to pay for the entirety of the surgery because she has the privilege of being in a higher tax bracket and is able to shop around for her treatment. Had he chosen to use this benefit for her surgery as well, a breast conserving surgery would have turned instead into a full mastectomy. Removing the cancer in full eases the demand for radiation or chemotherapy, so it is typical of the Seguro to pursue this route instead. How can a person in a higher tax bracket still benefit from socialized healthcare? Well, my mom never worked a day in her life, so she is entitled to these benefits. The money and privilege only came as a result of my dad's death. Yes, it is a privilege, a sad and morbid one, but a privilege nonetheless. Sometimes I wish I had stayed in Mexico. Most days nowadays. As we are guided to my mom's room by who I would call a concierge, she spots her friends in the waiting room. Throughout the past 4 years, ever since my dad died, my mom has built a supportive community of women who have embraced her and provided a familial and platonic love she never had before. If you think my aunts and uncle provided any sort of familial love, you're gravely mistaken, since this family doesn't know how to show love that isn't just chisme and críticas to one another. I meet them from time to time, here and there. I introduce myself, extending my hand for a handshake and smiling politely. They instead look at me the same way my tias do whenever I dignify them with my presence. Recortonas. They just look at me up and down and make a very tight, polite smile. Perhaps this is what my mom associates with family. I greet them, make them small talk, and exchange phone numbers as we are guided to my mom's room so that I can keep them posted with any updates. On the second floor, we check at the nurse's station where they ask her about the medication she is currently taking, the last time she took them, and any allergic reactions to other meds. She massages her temple, struggling to think at the moment of the many pills that have now become a part of her daily schedule, from prescriptions to supplements, until I remind her of the doctor's note she has in her binder where she told me she had written down every single name and dosage to every pill she washes down, sometimes with coffee or dilutes in water or juice. I pace around the waiting area in front of the nurse's station, removing the last layer left on me. At least the last socially acceptable layer I could remove in this scenario, with my brother patiently waiting for the interrogation to be over. As soon as she finishes the long list of medication, the concierge shows us to her room, breaking down all of the amenities as if we were staying at a 3 to 5-star hotel. By the way, I would give it a 3.5 out of 5. In her room, I organize things, find a spot to set them up so that it's easier for her to reach and find. A nurse sets up her IV while we wait. I make small talk to distract her from it, and my brother simply reads from the book he brought with him. She's scheduled for surgery to start at 6 p.m. They will be wheeling her into the operating area at around 5. Her phone rings from time to time, signaling the people now gathering downstairs in the waiting room, wanting to see her before she goes in. After a talk about how much and when to pay the doctor as she exits the surgery room, we take a leave to let her friends see her. Downstairs, a group of my mother's friends gather. Having met only two of them earlier, I introduce myself again. The newest arrivals are only familiar with my brother, who spends more time in Juarez with my mom. From conversations with them, it seems he also is often in their conversations. The son of one of those women in the group calls them the Uvas, Unión de Viejas Argüenderas, Gossiping Women Union. But they're much more than just the gossip. All 4 women, ages 23 to 68, have experienced grief and loss in an intimate manner, from children and spouses to family members and friends, and as such, have grown fiercely close and protective of each other. I'm going to close that one, and their last part is going to be next week. And I'm going to read 2 new ones. Well, sorry, 1 new one, and then a one for Women's Month. So this one is called Swimming. Trigger warning for suicide and alcoholism. Soaked to the bone and shivering cold, I wondered about the disruption to the normalcy of a Wednesday afternoon. We stood over a busy parking lot with the sun kissing the bare spaces of skin my swimsuit and towel could not cover. Wednesday was swim practice day, typically from 2 to 4 at the local swimming pool. That Wednesday, however, my mom had arrived earlier and pulled me and my cousins out of the practice without any explanation. I cannot recall the conversation in the car. I doubt I would have been able to comprehend anything beyond the instructions my mom gave me. We're going to your abuelito's home. You're going to grab Anna's hand and go up the stairs to her room. Do not look back. Lock the door behind you. Do not come out until I say it's okay. I knew better than to question, a trauma-informed mind following commands in order to avoid conflict. We run up the stairs without greeting anybody, no chic kisses, no hugs. Up the white stairs surrounded by plants, I could hear someone crying right before we made it to Anna's room, and I locked the door behind me. Inside, my brother and 2 younger cousins played Pokemon Stadium on the Nintendo 64. I joined from time to time, taking turns to use the 2 controllers while we remained oblivious or pretended to do so to the happenings downstairs. Upstairs, the sounds of our childhood brought life to the room. Outside the door, despair had lurked up the stairs and had begun knocking for us to let it in. In the midst of my maladaptive daydreaming and the battle music of the game, I could hear the thundering cries carried by the voice of my abuelo all the way to the 2nd floor of the house. Ya déjenme morir, chingado. I had no concept of mental illness, alcoholism, or suicide at the tender age of 10. But the despair in my grandpa's cries resonated with me. I saw in him the quiet desperation that would often consume my thoughts, that suffocating cry stuck at the back of my throat with no apparent reason for being. I rummaged through my cousin's belongings, searching for pen and paper. Through the years, writing has been one of the few productive coping skills I learned and retained. A green post-it and black ink, but I cannot remember what I wrote, not the words, not the feelings. Whatever notes I scrawled on that green paper, I thought it sufficient to resolve the reason why my grandpa was crying. I unlocked the door, told my brother and cousins to wait, and ran down the stairs. I remember my heart in my head and throat beating so fast and so loud I felt dizzy. I went against my anxiety and disobeyed orders, so I anticipated consequences. My scraped knees slid across the floor as I bypassed mom, dad, abuela, aunts, and uncle. I kneeled down next to him, to my abuelo, legs firmly pressed against the metal frame of his wheelchair, and I wrapped my arms around him. The consequences never came. Soaked to the bone in the burning stench of alcohol. His eyes filled with tears as I handed him my little green letter. He shivered and cried, tossing the half-empty bottle to the side as he hugged me back tightly. I was ushered back upstairs only after I spotted the gun he had held onto, just moments before I had broken the rules. And then this last one is gonna be for International Women's Month. It's called Fear and Rage. Just trigger warning again, sexual assault, rape, etc. The next time someone tells you a man yelling at you from across the street are just flirtatious attempts and you should be appreciative, will get power word killed by me. It's never been a show of interest, never done in good faith. The event carrying too many power imbalances and intergenerational traumas that have, at best, culminating in rapid heartbeats, power walking through the street, looking over your shoulder, hoping you were not followed, and at worst, physical and mental scars left behind by his violence. Let me tell you my history with his honeyed words and terrible moss, stories you will hear time and time again across time and our existence. When I was 11 years old, he trailed close behind me as I pretended to ignore him, hoping that by not showing my fear, he would be deterred and leave. He didn't. Instead, he dug his terrible claws under my skirt, searching for my fear, shame, and tears. I lashed out in anger and got called attention seeker. I deserved it, you see. My skin, a temptation ready for consumption. When I was 13, a group of men catcalled me and my friends while driving by our cuadra. Annoyed by the recurrence of this occurrence, I flipped them off and continued our talk. With tires screeching over pavement and the distinctive scent of burning rubber, they bucked up and barreled towards us. Heart on throat, we ran into the corner store, hid behind a pair of arcade games, and begged the boy at the counter not to tattle on us. They called me abrasive, aggressive, reactive. My existence should be in silence and accepting of his gaze. Somewhere between years 14 and 18, monstrous hands pinning arms against rough stucco, only the dim flicker of streetlights to witness. Hands reaching under, hands surrounding throat, hands pushing face against frayed bed sheets, taking, breaking, clawing, ceasing, depredating. But it was okay, because I invited him, because I wanted it, because I didn't say no, because I didn't really mean it when I did, because I existed in his vicinity. If you are not him, you probably have your own stories, nightmares you lived through that contribute to this collective reservoir of fear and rage. Con ellos, la historia se repite una y otra vez. So next time someone tells you his violence is a mark of affection, let me and the echoes of our wrath confront him. I'll tear his throat open. Thank you.
Got him. Thank you, Lee. Is there anywhere where people can go if they want more writing like that?
Yes, you can find me, you can find me on Instagram as cadáveres_literarios. I'm on Facebook as Lee Martinez Soto. I am on Substack as well as Lee Martinez Soto, and I'll share my link on the chat if you guys are interested.
Excellent. And we'll ferry that on to the YouTube people as well. Thank you very much, Lee. Great stuff as always. So we're gonna kick it back into music. Another regular that we're real happy to see every time we see her. And we saw her on Thursday at Old Sheepdog, where she put on quite a show. And so we're happy to see her once again. Please welcome Laura Lynette.
Hey, everybody. Nice to see you. Powerful, Lee, as always. Wow. Okay, so I've been really kind of pessimistic today with the wind and having to wear a mask all day in my house and at my mom's house, and just can't get away from the dust. So I'm going to do my best to try to sing in a higher register today. I found a couple of older songs that I'm going to throw out into the world. This one is it's about how we just as humans in this world have a hard time slowing down and taking care of ourselves. But anyway, it's called The Heart Beats Softly. Heartbeat softly is ever hidden down deep inside where magic is waiting. Beats so softly and it's never changing. But we move so fast, we never listen. We never hear the message that is given. Never feel the love that comes of living. Never touch the sweetest moments of silence. Understanding less and less we are driven to pour the coffee and feed the children, race to the bus stop, but miss the connection. Out of town, then we're back to the office. Phone keeps ringing and the boss blows his top off. We never hear the message that is given. Never feel the love that comes of living. We never touch the sweetest moments of silence. Understanding less and less we are driven. Heart beats softly, on and on we try to erase that beautiful rhythm. We seek to know the joy of our living. Only if we aren't losing money. Never hear the message that is given. Never feel the love that comes of giving. We never touch the sweetest moments of silence. Understanding less and less we are driven. War is bound on and people are dying. You and I are, we're trying. We want that car. We want the world to be our big cake with how many stars? Softly is ever hidden down deep inside where the magic is waiting. It beats so softly and it's never changing. Why do we move so fast and never listen? Never hear the message that is given. Never feel the love that comes of living. Never touch the sweetest moments of silence. Understanding less and less we are driven throughout our lives. Heartbeat softly. I was kind of in a pessimistic state of mind when I wrote that too, sounds like. Thank you all. Okay, so this one is a little more optimistic and reminiscent and about a bunch of different kinds of women that I've known and that I've been. And it's called Gone Without a Care. Let's see if I can remember how it goes. Well, she can clearly remember a cool day, late September, back to the year around 64. It was a crisp bright day. She was running out to play and took her nickel to the candy store. She was happy just to feel the wind blowing through her hair as she skipped down that old dirt road and was gone without a care. Gone without a care. Gone without a care. Well, she's been married to a job, kowtowing to the boss, and putting on that corporate air. She's had more than 5 solid offers, but her condo is still for sale. She was reminiscing back to when she made her first trip to the county fair in that Chevy, breezing down that old dirt road like she was gone without a care. Gone without a care. Gone without a care. Yeah, yeah. Gone without a care. Gone without a care. Care. Well, now, if you can see a dream, you better leap on in with faith. But if you can barely see the light, you better sit down, spin yourself around. Remember back to when you were gone, we're gone, we're gone without a care. Yeah. She's just trying to do her thing, dancing close with her babe. She was not looking for a fight. She's a tough old gal, in love with her pal, and that cowboy was higher than a kite. Yeah, she whispered, come on, darling, let's get out of here. Head on back out to the ranch. We can hold hands walking down that old dirt road, and we'll be gone without a care. Gone without a care. Gone without a care. Well, now, if you can see a dream, you better leap on in with faith. And if you can barely see the light, you better sit down, spin yourself around. Remember back to when you were gone, we're gone, we're gone without a care. Yeah, yeah. Well, now, she's been up since 4 o'clock, husband off to work, kids are shuttled on to school. She's got the woman's club at noon, jazzerciser to dinner at 6 is the house rule. She only stops if it is scheduled in her to have a breath of air, and she's wishing she was spreading down an old dirt road like she was gone without a care. Gone without a care. Gone without a care. Now, gone without a care. Wishing you're gone without a care. Yeah. Gone without a care. Ooh, yeah, gone without a care. Ooh, whoa, whoa. Get gone now. Thanks, everybody.
Go on, Git.
Come on, get.
All right.
Thanks, Kit. Thanks, Richie. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, well, thank you, Larry. Before you go, is there anything you got to plug in the next couple 3 weeks? Anything like that?
Let's see. I'm just throwing stuff up on YouTube, Larry Lynette Topic, YouTube. I'm going to be putting some others, these 2, I think I'm going to throw up there. And, oh, yeah, I'm going on a road trip with Valentin Sandoval at the end of the month. We're going to shoot a video. I don't know what it's going to be about, but we're going to do it because we're going to do it. Road trip. Woo-woo! I don't have any gigs. I go to open mics. So I'll see you. Oh, East Side open mic. This coming
Yeah.
Thursday, right? Okay.
Week after.
Sounds
Yeah.
like a winner. Thank y'all.
All right. Thank you, Lara. Great stuff. And that's exciting, Valentine directing your music video. He's a pretty good poet. He's a visionary in a lot of different ways. So that's something to look forward to. And there's also a couple videos you can look up whenever you want, because that is the promise of the internet and that is the reality of the internet. So we want to say hi to everyone who's been joining us tonight. Like Sandy, as always, great to see you. Andres and Lex showing up for the home team. We always appreciate them. And Mary Lou, hey buddy, was sitting in her group for the workshop portion of our writers' night on Wednesday night. She's got something good in the oven next time she comes to a mic. I think she'll have something new and something great. Okay, so we're going to keep it moving. We're going to one of the great things, one of the things that made us keep doing this mic, as things opened up again, was just the international aspect of things. It's really truly remarkable that we can go all over the world without taking a step. And so we're really grateful for that, and something that's a privilege for us. And we're happy to be a host for anyone, anywhere, wherever you are. But our next performer is coming to us from Malaysia, and we are very pleased to once again welcome Julian Matthews to our stage. Hello, Julian. Share screen should already be turned on.
Hi. Yeah, thanks. Oh, 2 short poems. Train wreck. I watched him from afar, his eyes vacant and cold as an empty boxcar, his face a cracked mirror, his maw a yawning tunnel, his thoughts a loose caboose, his life derailed for some reason, savoring the drag of the cigarette, as if on his way to an execution. The smoke swirling above like soul ghosts in transition, his shadow slipping off skin and sill and dancing in the wind. And poem. The second one is called Grave Notice. All cemeteries are cancerous, the parasitoid and the predatory eating one from the inside out. Your grief has no space in a decaying heart. My rot is my lot, my last hurrah. It's an honor to return to nature. Remember the living life, not the trigger, not the crack of dead fire, not the powder residue of guiltless hands. My body is now a nobody. Even if reduced to ash, it fertilizes. It serves its purpose. It is not merely fodder for this bawling. It heeded Mother Earth's calling. The soul is not a hole in the ground. My absence is still a presence. I will always be around. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Julian. Keeps it short and sweet, and I'll drop the links into chat whenever you can. Thanks very much once again for being a part of this. And we're continuing with our international portion, because our next performer came of age in El Paso, was known to us in El Paso, and performed a lot. And when we started these, he was in South Korea. He's moved a little closer to us, I think, or maybe further away. I don't know. I'm not good at geography. He's in Germany now, and we're real happy that he gets to join us this way. Gets to wake up with us, play a little music in the morning. So please welcome Luis Camberos. Luis, when you're ready.
Hey, Kit.
All right.
I'm Gonna sing a song by Monsters of Folk and Piero. Putting on my power, righteous as a rose. Dynamite the mountain, now I'm walking up the road. Oh, love we made at gunpoint wasn't love at all. Swinging in the valley, and stars about to blow. I blew open my mind, now it's an empty room. Oh, I fucked that one up. Sorry. I'll try it one more time. Putting on my power, righteous as a rose. Dynamite the mountain, now I'm walking up the road. Oh, love we made at gunpoint wasn't love at all. The dancing in the valley, the moon's the mirrored ball. Blew open my mind, now it's an empty room. Swinging in the hammock, dogs are walking across the roof. Oh, I watch you braid your hair, you're from another time, when the earth wasn't so angry and God was on our side. Searching west and east, all points in between and underneath the lines of thought. You're there and then you're not. The mind stole tomorrow, hid it underground. We come with heavy magnets, but it still hasn't been found. Oh, I'm sweating out my secrets in the Temescal. They're screaming in the kite, there are stars about to fall. Looking through the trees, cities and the seas, things we've seen, omnis on the lawn. You're there and then you're gone, 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 there and then you're gone. Searching west and east, all points in between, underneath the hand of God. You're there and then you're not. You're there and then you're not. eres un buen tipo, mi viejo, que anda solo esperando. Tiene la tristeza larga de tanto venir andando. Yo lo miro desde lejos, pero somos tan distintos. Es que creció con el siglo, con tranvía de vino tinto. Viejo, me he querido, viejo, ahora ya camina lerdo, como perdonando el viento. Yo soy tu sangre, mi viejo, soy tu silencio y tu tiempo. Él tiene los ojos buenos y una figura pesada. La hada se le vino encima, sin carnaval ni comparsa. Yo tengo los años nuevos y el hombre los años viejos. El dolor lo lleva dentro y tiene historia sin tiempo. Viejo, me he querido, viejo, ahora ya camina lerdo, como perdonando el viento. Yo soy tu sangre, mi viejo, soy tu silencio y tu tiempo. Yo soy tu sangre, mi viejo, yo soy tu silencio y tu tiempo. Thank you, everyone. My name is Luis Gamberos. You can catch my music on Bandcamp and SoundCloud and every streaming platform. Kit, thanks a lot for hosting tonight, man, and thanks to everybody.
Hey, man, thank you. Thank you for another great set. Really, really love hearing you, man. Yeah, all over the world. Malaysia, Germany, back to El Paso. Let's see. Hang on, where are we? We have, okay, Cassie's not here. So we're continuing on our, we've almost gone around the world, but we're going to stop real quick in Washington, D.C. Because, you know, that's the place where a lot of people wish they could be. It's usually I think ahead and do this ahead of time because I need to put a lot of thinking when I decide to rhyme. But this next performer, it just comes natural. And I don't know what rhymes with natural. But please welcome Ed Poetastic to our stage.
That rhyme was simply divine. Thank you for your wonderful chime. Kid, you're such a smashing hit. All right, my name is Ed Potasso, feeling fantastic. Please, time to join my rhyme. Thoughtful Sublime. This was a very, very, very musical and wonderful open mic. Thank you for making our Friday night so light in the wonderful fantastic spotlight. But anyway, I have 3 poems. One poem was I was on a African American podcast. Basically, we need to pick a African American leader and wrote an homage poem to them. So I picked Frederick Douglass, and this poem is called Northern Star. You can take everything from me, but you can't take away my dignity. He was born a slave, but he didn't die a slave. He strived to make change in a bias segregated reign. He lost his mom by the age of 7. His days was pure hell, not heaven. His slave master gave him beatings. His scars kept throbbing and seething. He used that pain and fought his master, didn't dare hit him in the days after. This event inspired him to be free, to be boundless like a bird or a fish at sea. These experiences fuel his humanity. That's why he left the plantation with empathy. A new world opened in front of his eyes. His mind was astonished and surprised. He quickly became an abolitionist, spoken stories in the diverse myths. He created many books about his life, the taste of blood, sweat, fear, and spite. His writings inspired many others to condemn slavery and help one another. He created his own newspaper called the North Star, to advocate for the black people near or far. He used his power to push Abe Lincoln. I give you a moment to let this sink in. He went he want Abe to advocate more to black slaves, help fight for freedom than to dig their graves. He helped inspire Abe's Emancipation Proclamation to help resolve diversity in the dark situations. Before long, the North defeated the South, the strength of the word from mouth. He died in Washington, D.C. He is the African American I want to be. He may be dead, but his spirit moves on, making us free, educated, inspired, and strong. Thank you. Um, this other one is called Sharp Words. The pen is mightier than a sword. Recreators inspirers in our own accord. Words are gifts, not labeled or cursed. If you're behind doesn't mean you're not first. I have been called types of bad names, but I'm not up in quicksand or flames. Deep down, I knew it wasn't me. It was their frustration trying to be free. I see chaos happen with just one word. I see riots happen just flipping the bird. When you use a word, please think back. Think about consequences coming in stacks. Why not use words like sharp or nice hat? Please use your words minus the bat. Words are used to educate, not conjugate or debate. Please bring positivity and harmony, but no hate. Every word, sentence, and essay has power. You're the gardener of this unique flower. It could be a rose, sunflower, violet, or Venus flytrap. If triggered, please close your gap before it collapses. Remember to use your words thoughtfully and wisely. Please use them highly, concisely, precisely, and nicely, but never lightly. Thank you. And my last one is called Drawn in Smudge. We created by Earth, the dirt of rebirth. We're all her seeds. We breed, she bleeds. Stranded by our mud, soaked in the floods. We're flowers in her image, roots without any limits. We don't show you love, your voice of the winds above. We feel your earthquakes while you painfully aches. We see your thunderstorms, your frantic cries as a newborn. We touch your hurricanes, the wails of growing pains. We drink your tsunamis, the water cleans your body. We hear you, our mother. We feel your thunder. Yes, we can stand and do. Sorry be a burden to you. A mother's work is never done. Thank you for being our son. Forgive your uprooted trees. We are pieces of your humanity. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ed. And what else did the people need to know at about this time?
Sure. If you want to support this wonderful open mic, for our Monday lights, please come down for the B1 spotlight that make you feel all right. But if you want to follow me, please feel free. My Facebook is Eddie Forum and my IG is Eddie Forum92. And remember, if the mic is right, I'll be there to shine my fantastic insight. If you send a request, you take guess. The answer is yes. Hope everyone stays safe, healthy, and blessed. Now start spewing words outside your chest. Now start feeling and being and doing your best. And always remember that you're more important than you ever know. Don't stop your flow and never stop your glow. If you don't know, now you know. I love this show. Woo!
All right. Often imitated, never duplicated, Eddie Foreman. So we're going to keep going on our sort of around the world journey. Just go a little bit more westward and a little bit northward to go to Ontario, Canada. Our friends to the north, and to talk with Cassie McCoy. Cassie, when you're ready.
Hi, everyone. Um, so have a few here that are untitled. So I'll dive into this first one. Sorry, one second here. When a person unfurls their trials and tribulations to you, lays them out gently on the table, with notable hesitation as they try to dismiss the pang of past remarks poking at the back of their neck. Never been there. Can you prove that it's a tangible place? And you glance down with curious eyes, hungry for comprehension, and you say, I see it. Its tender heart is still beating before my eyes. A vine of compassion sprouts from the spread, soft verdant budding, and you may think to yourself, oh, pretty, but what good does it do? Just wait for when the bearer of the original words lifts them from the tablecloth and tucks them back beneath their ribcage before you, and you may just see a single white flower push through below their collarbone, soft relief in bloom. All right, and then the second piece is also very recent and does not have a title. And it goes as follows. The subtle art of grasping at vivid, mundane moments, holding a digital contraption to the sky, framing horizontal wires, those frequented by small street acrobats, and married to unsuspecting vine, pressed against the backdrop of a pink and blue cotton candy sky, an evening summer haze, a practice of noticing, drifting through city streets, beat light with the release from sticky thoughts no longer clinging to the souls, quietly pulsing with opportunities to capture the snippets of the quietly glistening, seemingly banal beauty that is slipped between vibrant water droplets, most commonly known as sticky summer humidity. A not so unlikely union, often unremarked. A not so unlikely union of the often unremarked. And I believe I'm gonna do one more original here. If I can find it fast enough. Okay. This is called When the Sun Comes, after Gwendolyn Brooks. I want to say he will be welcome, that I will not close all the blinds and bolt the door for fear of losing my sight once he makes it through, for fear of sunspots on my retinas that do not fade. but superimpose onto all that comes to meet my eyes thereafter. For the sun knows no bounds, its only aim to make it in and imprint itself on the back of your eyes. I want to say I would treat this noble messenger with a lowered trigger finger redirected towards the kettle to procure tea for two. After all, we would both need its reassurance, for the sun's duty is one of the most vulnerable, and my mind's eye wouldn't be the same after I let him in. And I will follow that with the poem that it is after by Gwendolyn Brooks. Just one moment here. Okay. So this is called Truth, again by Gwendolyn Brooks. And if the sun comes, how shall we greet him? Shall we not dread him? Shall we not fear him? After so lengthy a session with shade? Though we have wept for him, though we have prayed, although the night, all through the night years, what if we wake one shimmering morning to hear the fierce hammering of his firm knuckles on the door? Of his firm knuckles hard on the door. Shall we not shudder? Shall we not flee into the shelter, the dear thick shelter of familiar virtuous haze? Sweet is it to sleep in the coolness of snug unawareness. The dark hangs heavily over the eyes. So that was the poem that inspired When the Sun Comes. All right, and I have just a short last cover poem here. And this poem is called The Patience of Ordinary Things by Pat Snyder.
Ooh.
Is it a kind of love? Sorry, it is a kind of love, is it not? How the cup holds the tea, how the chair stands sturdy and foursquare, how the floor receives the bottoms of shoes or toes, how the soles of feet know where they are supposed to be. I have been thinking about the patience of ordinary things, how clothes wait respectfully in closets, and the soap dries quietly in the dish, and the towels drink the wet from the skin of the back, and the lovely repetition of stairs. And what is more generous than a window? All right, so that's what I have for poetry this evening. If you are curious to occasionally encounter my poetry, I do infrequently post on my Instagram at Relentless Intrigue. All right, thank you, Kit. Thank you, everyone.
Well, thank you, Cassie. Thank you very much for that. All right. Oh, wave hi to everyone. Uh, it's a great night. I really do enjoy hosting. I do have to say one drawback is that when you're hosting, it's kind of rude to perform. So I withdrawing from that. However, this opens up an opportunity for our usual long-suffering host to step to the mic himself and to drop a little bit of his own work. And so with that in mind, I'm real happy to call up my friend, my boss of sorts, Richie Marrufo, to the mic. Richie, when you're ready.
That's so weird to hear. What's up? Hold on, let's get figure this out there. Hold on, getting there. What's up, YouTube land, YouTube landia? We'll do a quick one. This one's called To Young Leaders. Let your mind be a sponge to soak up endless stories and songs, because the future belongs to those who are curious and creative. So be curious and creative. But most of all, the sacred words, pay attention. Step one, be you. So much so that the world cannot contain your uniqueness unless it doubles, no, triples in size. Shake mountains with your melody. Enjoy every song of yourself, from crescendo to crescendo, like peak to peak, so much so that others will have no other choice but to get you stuck in their heads. So much so that if you were in front of Picasso, he would stop and tell you, I can't paint you, you're so weird. Or better yet, I painted you perfectly because you're so weird. Don't be afraid to be alone. So when the time comes, and it will come, you'll embrace your own thoughts and spend your last dollar on an empty notebook. It is there. You will learn to embrace the mistakes, the missed aches of your most confusing years. Gather it, crumple it into a ball of confusion, journey outward and bathe it in the fires of Mount Doom, and then wear it like your armor. Step two, be bold. Walk this world with footsteps like exclamation marks, shaped like lightning bolts. Let your march for justice be booming thunder for those who are voiceless and cannot fight back. See, it is through our ancestors that we learn the words of resilience, La lucha sigue, which resonated in the voices of our Filipino family in the field to shattered Isang Bagsak. That is, when one falls, we all do. When one rises, we all do. You come for one, you come for all. Be bold and an army of one, unapologetic to your ideas, grinding through the machinations of reason and rhyme. Ask big questions so you may get big answers. Like mi abuelo, who wrote love songs about the border and worked hard every day of his life for the love of his family, who showed me how to experience the beauty of a moment and the true meaning of lifelong friendships. To travel cross country and meet beautiful silver-tongued poets from silver cities who tell us to hold on and chase the sun. Go out, get dirty, stay up late, jump fences, sneak into buildings, create, meditate, set people on fire, metaphorically. So be bold and take risks. Like that one time when I was a freshman in high school and everything I'd ever learned from movies was that one big romantic gesture. You know the one, right? Where the guy frantically races to the airport in order to stop the girl and make his public declaration of love, which is exactly what I did when I raced a truck without a license down to the El Paso International Airport in a collection of the very first poems I'd ever written because I wanted her to have them. When I caught her and I told her in front of her family that she was spectacular, and in the vernacular of a 14-year-old, choked up 14-year-old boy with misguided ideas of love, said my goodbyes. Yeah, how'd that work out? Well, she told me she cried all the way on her flight to Oakland. And so did I, for a while. That's okay. So be bold and take those risks, even if they lead to tears, because those are the ones that will soak into your bone and provide the nutrients to help you grow into the person who you are and will be. Step three, be in love. Look that person in the morning mirror and tell them, you look good today. Take the time to listen to the heartbeat of a lover. Make sure you forget that time exists, especially when you're deep in each other's bodies and the wind is a howling giant along the border. Take that one angry, bitter person and disarm them with compassion. Don't waste your time with nonsensical arguments that bring each other down, because the best way to stop bridges from burning is to let it all become water underneath. Take that love and compassion, wear it on your sleeve, and make it your anthem. Be in love with nature, with stories, with knowledge, with home, with your mind, with your body, with the world. to young leaders, be bold, be you, and be in love. One last thing. Here's the microphone. Come and take it. Fade out. Fade out. Okay. That's it for me. I think I'm going to be performing my poetry in downtown El Paso, March 20th. That's going to be on Thursday. So I think 2 weeks with some jazz greats. And I'm inviting two new poets to spit with me. If you were that old sheepdog last Thursday, you might have gotten a preview, but I'm going to leave that as a secret until now. So yeah, let's go and get back to you kids. You can give it to Dan. So Dan can go back to you to give it back to me. You know what I'm saying? So, all right, peace.
It's a system. It sounds complicated, but it works. That's all I have to say. Because there's only one way that we ever close one of these shows. Like Joe Nuxall used to say on Cincinnati Reds broadcast, it's time for the old right-hander to round third and bring us home. Dan, the man. Local cryptid institution, whatever you want to call them. When you're ready, take it away.
Well, how's everybody doing tonight? Well, one bit. Well, last night was pretty light. It was nice. But a couple of days ago was quite sad because we're not glad. Well, seems too bad. Well, and even though we are definitely sad that we've lost Hollywood's lost their two comrades. Yeah. Well, better make it three because we've lost I better make it three. Better make it three. We lost. Better make it three. We lost. We like near the launch pad. Something we had. Roberta Flack, Michelle Trachtenberg, and the legendary Gene Hackman. And plus David Johansen, aka Buster Poindexter, and Angie Stone. What a big reaction. There was no obstruction, but a sad fraction. Never expect the loss. There'll be a dissatisfaction. But they're not forgotten. But they're gone, but not forgotten. Oh. Okay. Okay. And that is it for right now. All right, well, let's turn our frowns around, and I think tomorrow will be Mardi Gras. So who's ready for this kind of lot? And and how more is it? Okay. All right, guys. I'm working on catching up on my blog. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. You have a great night, and tell Richie to call at night.
All right. I will do as you said, Dan. Thanks very much. Thank you for the little in memoriam for Gene Hackman and others. Well, tomorrow, by the pattern, it should be at Mona. So I'm not sure where we'll be tomorrow, but there are two choices and they're right next to each other. So if we're not in one, then we're in the other. But it is scheduled for a Mona night, which means two comedians will be allowed for now. And then we have a restful rest of the week. And then next week, we're at Rosewood on Tuesday. we'll have our second Writers' Night at Proof and Press, and then Thursday we'll have the East Side Show, the Night of Feels is what it's called on our little calendar at Rally Point, at the corner of Montana and Edgemere. Um, and Jezza the Pie Sisters will be your master of ceremonies for that. And yeah, so we have an exciting month because they're all pretty exciting when you live like us, when you do what we do. But thank you all for joining us this Monday night. Quick shout out to Joshua Cabrales, who couldn't join us. He just messaged me. He kind of spaced. Hopefully he signs up next week. But his work is on his Instagram page at _goat_poet, if you want a preview of what it will be like when he eventually does join us. So Dan told me to hand it to Richie, so I better do that. So Richie, if there's anything I forgot, go ahead and cover my ass real quick.
I think we covered it pretty quickly. I will be also rounding out the month for Tumble Words, I believe, right? Is it the last Saturday of the month?
Yes. Yeah, the
Okay,
29th.
cool. Yeah, so that's fun. I'm going to be, well, I'll leave it a mystery. Haha, because I'm going to be talking about mystery. Only we'll leave it at that for now. But yeah, I'll be leaving that Tumble Words. I do want to again thanks to everyone who tuned in today, and shout out to our new subscribers. We just had a new channel, Mijo's Library, as well as Mr. Lee. Follow us. Shout out. Also shout out to Gabriela Denise, who I think has come here once or twice before to sing, who was also interacting with us recently on our channel. If you haven't done so, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, consider subscribing. You will be notified every time we go live on Monday nights. And once I catch up on some other work, I will get back to posting videos, other types of highlights from open mics, but more importantly, Fresh Cuts. Fresh Cuts is a series that is more so equivalent of what I consider NPR Tiny Desk meets Bun Poetry, where I invite poets or writers or musicians into my studio to record a mini set. Our most recent episode, I think, was Lee, so you can see Lee's set there. But someone here that performed today booked a session to share their poetry. Again, I'll leave that a surprise until that's uploaded. But one way to see once it's uploaded is to subscribe to our channel. There's also a little bell there to be notified anytime we upload, anytime we upload anything. Otherwise, follow us on social media. You can follow me on Instagram at Deadwall Reveries. I'm trying to be better at using Blue Sky as well to eventually, you know, I don't know, just meet me in real life too at the open mic. I'll see you there. For the online mic, see you next Monday. Peace. Have a good night. Have a good night. Bye.